And we're live!
Hey, everybody!
Hey.
Oh my god.
Wow.
It's a letter in the alphabet.
Yup.
Hey. Oh God! I started talking along with the stream that I was hearing in my ear.
Good job.
I was like, "Oh God, is this?" Oh, I'm trying to think of a joke and I can't think of it, so I'll just move past it.
Jokes are for funny people, Cole.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. I'm
I
only
like how
funny.
Cole's picture is like relevant to mine here.
I did that on purpose.
I know you did. And I hate you.
let's go down the list and introduce ourselves. Hi, my name is Brian. I am the head of the audio department here at KRWBY Productions, as well as the voice of Neptune in RWBY Abridged. And my lovely co-host here today, please introduce yourself.
What up, everybody? My name's Beau. I voice Winter and Ilya for KRWBY Productions. I also am the lead director of the VR short department, as well as one of the lead writers for that, and co-host to our other podcast, Perpetually Ajar. And
Hell yeah.
I think that's it. I think that's all I do. There's
You
other
think that's
stuff that I do whenever they're just like, "Hey, Beau, can you do this?" But yeah, nothing official.
So we have two special guests today. Let's start with the one on the top, the lovely Starr. Starr, introduce yourself. What do you do?
I shine in the sky at night.
Oh shit, that's you?
No,
I never knew.
I'm Starr. I create 3D models. I voice literally every female character. You know, just kidding. It's Yang, Nora, Glenda, and Pyrrha, and I'm resident derp, I guess. Pun master.
Your
I make the
profile picture
jokes.
is very fitting for that.
Indeed.
Hell yeah.
That's
And,
all I do.
we got another special guest. Introduce yourself.
Well, hi. My name is Cole. I am burned to produce fossil fuel energy.
I hate you so much. You need to stop.
Anyway, but legit though, I'm Cole. I voice John and Crow. Oh yeah, and Oscar for this channel. We haven't done anything with Oscar, but anyway, I voice those characters. I'm a writer / co-director for RWBY Abridged. I help write in the VR shorts every once in a while, and I'm like the one other guy on the audio team. So,
I mean, we got Kay, but he only does the fights.
yeah.
You know, unimportant stuff.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
you know.
It's okay. We're gonna get flavor text at some point, guys. I'm on studio mode. I am ready.
I'm ready for that flavor text. I can't
Flavor test.
listen. All right.
You know, Sugar Rush, that sounds really lewd. I'm not gonna go with that one.
I was informed I would be on the podcast 35 minutes ago.
Look,
So-
it wasn't as if we had. It wasn't as if it was suddenly brought to my attention that we only had 3 people lined up.
It
for
took
this
him
week.
that long to bite the bullet and, and invite me to be on the podcast. Brian just hates me that much.
Yeah, I do. Fuck
I
you,
was
Cole.
gonna say, I think you guys
Oh,
invited
fuck
me
you
at one
too.
point, but I was like working 24/7, and I was just like dying, and I was like, I can't.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry, guys, dead.
So we've got some special we've got some special things to talk about, namely this little show called RWBY.
I
What do you mean,
heard of it?
RWBY?
Before we continue any further, I want to
Yes.
go ahead and say what I said to Beau earlier, in that this episode I like to call "This Is Not Okay" the episode.
Well, first, the first thing we need to do is spoilers.
Spoilers for
Spoilers.
RWBY Volume 7, Chapter 12, with Friends Like These.
Who
This
needs
episode is only
anemones?
available for first
Oh,
members
no.
right now. If you are not a first member and you have seen it, then you have broken the law.
Oh, time to execute Order 66!
You've committed crimes against Skyrim and her people. What say you in your defense?
But yeah, so if you have not seen the episode and you care about spoilers, spoiler warning, you have been warned. So there's a lot to unpack in this episode. I'm really interested to go back and forth with you guys about this episode because this episode was kind of a roller coaster for me. I think that there was some really fantastic stuff in this episode, stuff that probably they have never done better. And some stuff that I think that really could have used some more work.
Can I say, can we rename this episode to Dumb Bitch Juice? Because so many people were on that.
Yup.
No, this is not okay. The episode.
Because everyone was on their dumb bitch juice.
Oh my goodness.
What is that?
As I say, as I open my bottle of dumb bitch juice right now.
Dude, same.
Brian, you're the only one who's not drinking,
I'm not. Yeah, I guess.
which is funny because I voice Crow.
I mean,
Hey,
to be
Crow
fair,
is
Crow's not drinking
sober
for
this
volume.
season.
Hey.
I mean, due to what happened at the
Right.
end of this episode, he might not be, but
I mean, this is. But yeah, so.
But I mean, oh well, better luck next time, am I right?
So to start this episode off, Clover is like, "Hey, Crow, just want to let you know, but like, I kind of need to arrest you. Also, Team RWBY is under arrest. Just professional courtesy. Thought I'd let you know what I need to do." And Crow is like, "Fuck you. Let's not do that." And then Robin is like, "Aw, you bitch."
and Robin was like, you're not taking me alive. And Clover was like, but you're not even under arrest.
Yeah, but you're not.
And she's
you're
like,
not
I don't
even-
care.
You're not. You'll never take me alive.
He's like, you're not
No,
even.
no,
You're not
you're
even
not
under
even
arrest. You're not even the target.
I don't care.
And then yeah, so Robin attacks Clover, and
With her
Crow
dumb
is
bitch
like,
juice.
"Yo, what the hell are you doing? We're transporting a prisoner. He's like a mass serial killer. Can this wait until we drop him off?"
Tyrion's just in the
There-
corner eating
there are
popcorn.
there are better times to fight.
Yeah. And then Robin was like, "Nah, we fighting now," which, to be fair, is, I think, pretty in character for Robin. But Crow decides to join in. And I have questions.
Because like Crow could have kept sitting down. Let's be honest. Like
Or Crow could have, instead of like attacking Clover, just tried to restrain Robin.
because like when Robin attacked Clover got her on the ground, and that's when Crow said, "Okay, whatever, sure." And he stood up. He could have kept sitting down and been like, "Guys, stop." Like
Yeah.
Robin was down, Clover was at the advantage, and Crow was just like, "Okay, whatever."
Well, here's the thing though: is Clover may either be immune or be like able to withstand or like fight against Crow's semblance, but like no one else is. So like maybe that was part of his semblance playing in, was the fact that it just made everyone be fucking stupid. Specifically Robin. Like I was like,
Beau, go
Robin,
off.
Robin, I love you. You are beautiful. You are valid. Sit the fuck down.
Little did we know, Salem was killing everyone by releasing dumb bitch juice into the air.
Robin, you're valid, but your opinion is not. So sit down.
I've never been so thoroughly disappointed in a character before. Not
No,
necessarily
Beau's
like,
not mad. Just disappointed.
yeah, like not even necessarily, like disappointed in writing or anything like that. Like in character, Robin, you have disappointed me so much. I'm just like, please, like, you're so problematic right now, Robin.
So a fight breaks out on the transport, and Tyrion, of course, uses it as a way to crash the ship, which is
And
like,
gain a new
Fucking
hat.
does.
no
bitch.
fucking shit. That's what was gonna happen if you started fighting and stopped paying attention to the mass serial killer.
Okay,
Yeah.
but he got a new hat out of the deal, so
So like I saw someone kind of analyzing that whole thing of like, Clover can't follow multiple orders at once. Like he has a direct order before the order goes out to arrest Crow. His order is to work with Crow and Robin to bring Tyrion back. And then this direct order to arrest Crow or any of Team RWBY, you know, on site, that supersedes what his previous order was, and he just genuinely does not give a fuck what his previous order was or who it was about. It was, this is my order now. I need to complete it. And it's just like, fam, talk about being one track mind. Like,
Or he's just, you know, super ADHD.
well, because it's just like, well, the problem is that it's like, we know that Team RWBY, Team Juniper, and Crow, they may be opposing the decision that Ironwood is making, but they're not a threat. Do you understand? You know what I mean? Like, they're not a threat. They're not physically threatening anyone. They're not hurting anyone. They're just being annoying, essentially. Tyrion is a threat.
He's
That's
killing
why I was
everyone.
so mad that Crow decided to team up with Tyrion
I feel like
against Clover.
I feel like this is the episode where all of us truly realize just how fucking insane Tyrion is. Like, we knew he was insane before, but this dude fucking dislocated his thumb.
Like that was some fucking Death Note shit.
Cracked it back into place.
That was some fucking Death Note shit. Like that was the smartest we've ever seen Tyrion.
This is true. He's
So-
crazy, but he knows what he's doing.
Yep. And so, I mean, we are definitely going to get deeper into this Crow Clover Tyrion fight later on and kind of talk about, you know, what we think worked well and what we think didn't work, because I do think that was a fight where, unfortunately, there was a lot of stuff that did not work for me. But there were other aspects of this episode that we are going to get to here in a moment that I think worked insanely well. So one of the things that I'm absolutely loving that they're kind of playing with this season, I've kind of talked about it a little bit in a previous episode, is this dynamic between Penny and in that they are kind of turning the, you know, robot who wants to be human trope on its head, right? Where the robot is more in touch with humanity than, right?
Yeah.
And that is kind of comes to a head here in this episode where Winter gets the order to go take the Winter Maiden, the Winter Maiden's powers. And Penny is like, I am not about this. And Winter is like, no, this is for the greater good. And Penny is like, screw this. This isn't right.
And Winter agrees, too.
Yeah.
Like, loyalty does not equal blind obedience. Like, they definitely can see where it's wrong, but they're not going to let their personal morals affect how they obey their commanding officer's orders and whatnot, which is where the problem is a good soldier knows when to follow orders. A great soldier knows when to disobey them. And it's, God, like, it really kills me because it's just like, I can totally get that. Like, I just love the conflict that Winter's going through of the, you know, she's finally actually acknowledging that she has these feelings. Like, she's not trying to hide them. Like, she's kind of expressing that she has these feelings, but then, like, you know, contrary-wise, she's turning it around and being like, but those don't matter. And it's this really great conflict. And I'm really glad that it, you know, like, and I said it back in, like, what was it, like episode 7 or whatever, episode 7 or 8, that, like, Penny and Winter are foils for each other, and I love it. That they're just, like, mirrors of each other in that what they're struggling with. And it's so interesting to me. It's the last dynamic that I ever thought would happen in the show. If you would have asked me a year ago, do you think Penny and Winter would, like, have a bunch of scenes together and be interacting and be foils for each other? I would have been like, fucking what? But yeah, no, this scene was probably one of my favorite scenes of this episode.
Yeah.
That
So
was really good.
it was it was definitely really cool. So but the next little bit is what really had me going, holy crap. And that has to do with the Aesops versus RWBY.
That
Ah.
was fucking baller.
The Aesops versus RWBY is probably my favorite. It might very well be my favorite fight in this entire show. Um, and the reason being is that we've now seen come full circle on this in uh back in volume 5. Anybody who has been following the podcast long enough knows that myself and Forrest and Ian, the people who founded this here podcast, were not the biggest fans of volumes 4 and 5. We had a lot of issues with it. And by far, our biggest issues culminated in the big group fight at the end of volume 5 at Haven. And just how slow all of the fight was, and how it just none of the energy really felt right. And there were just I could go on and on and on with the list of problems in that fight. And this, to me, the way that they handled RWBY versus Aesops, to me felt like they really took the mistakes that they made back in Volume 5 during the Haven fight and said, okay, this didn't work, this didn't work, this didn't work, and figured it out all together to create a group fight the way it really should be done. And it was absolutely incredible.
Well, not only that, but this time they were fighting like true professionals. I mean, it was like pro on pro fights. At Haven, like, I mean, Team RWBY was good. I understand the whole, they kind of threw it in last minute, everyone fighting everyone. But at the same time, they were kind of unexperienced at the time. They weren't used to
that
like,
wasn't really the problem with the fight. The issue was the overall writing and the pacing of it, with like the talk fighting, and
Yeah.
they'd get a couple hits in, then they'd talk, and they'd get another couple hits in, and they'd talk. And so there wasn't really, and you never, even though there were all these people fighting in the same room, you never really got this feeling that there was a bunch of shit going down in this room. And it was all culminating. And with this, on the other hand, yeah, they did kind of split the fights up into different rooms, which honestly was probably a really smart decision. But the way that they cut between each of the fights, the choreography, the general pacing, the creativity, and all of the different moves and how they were fighting was just absolutely top notch.
I really loved how they had Weiss fighting Marrow, and then occasionally like Ruby would tumble back into the room and Harriet would come in after her, and then Ruby would run out and Harriet would come back in, and then like Blake and Yang were both doing their separate fights and kind of going back and forth between fighting Vi and fighting Elm, and then like both of them fighting one of them, and all of that. And it was just like the way that all of these fights intermingled. Like this fight is exactly, kind of like what you were saying, this is exactly how I wish the Volume 5 finale fight would have been. Because this felt very much like this was just a scramble between 8 people struggling to win.
Exactly.
I'd also like to say something that gave me just the most incredible feeling of catharsis was like the look on Team RWBY's face was not a panicked look of students trying to scramble and get together what they were like the best that they could during this fight. It was the calm, focused look of professionals doing their job. Like Team RWBY, they're huntsmen, and they deserved that title. And that, like, this is where it really sinks in.
Yeah.
They aren't just kids anymore.
It kind of felt like them defending, it was kind of like Aesop's being like, okay, kids, you're huntsmen, you're huntresses, let's see you, prove it. And this was really Team RWBY proving that, because they've already proven that they can handle Grimm. Like, the last couple episodes, we've seen them going and taking down Grimm. We've seen, Harriet not be strong enough to do her job and take down the Megaliath, but then Penny and Ruby were able to do it. And so we've already seen that they're able to at least keep up with the Aesops as far as fighting the Grimm goes. But this fight was really, okay, let's see you actually hold that title now. Prove that you're actually huntresses.
Can we also
Beau,
take
I
a
would
moment to address what Tina said was that like RWBY had big dick energy this episode.
She stole that from
Yeah, she
me.
did.
I said it first, and then now she's
Beau.
just
Okay,
saying
well, then
it
you said it
repeatedly.
Like
Beau,
RWBY, damn.
Oh yeah, she did. Beau, I would just like to point out that somebody in the chat says that you're not allowed to make any more predictions.
Too fucking bad.
Big ol' rip.
For $8,000 a month, I will stop.
Nothing specific. You'll just stop.
Yeah. No, like I 100% agree, like with how, they kind of, had the fights intermingle and whatnot. And in turn, like the one complaint that I've heard about this fight is that certain, some people think that Team RWBY should not have been able to defeat the Aesops as easily as they did. First of all, I would argue that this was not an easy fight.
Not at all.
Second of all, I would argue that Team RWBY has had a massive amount of experience, perhaps even more experience than the Aesops, in having to fight multiple different kinds of enemies. So they have had to learn how to adapt. Yes, and the training from the Aesops has definitely helped them as well. But I would venture to argue that the Team RWBY probably actually has more experience fighting really high level human and faunus fighters than the Aesops. Because the Aesops are generally, I'm sure they've had to deal with certain people, rebels and that kind of stuff, but none of them are going to be trained the way that Salem's people have been trained. So, or that the top White Fang people have been trained. So I feel like with all of their experience out on the road, fighting Salem's people, fighting all these different kinds of Grimm, I think that has, and then combine that with the training from the Aesops, I think that is enough to give them an edge over the Aesops. So I do think that this win makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I would like to point out that Kurumi just said in chat, I've noted, like, Blake and Yang, they've got their shit together when it comes to duo fighting. But you hardly ever see RWBY and Weiss interact anymore. I mean, yeah, Weiss kind of put that wall up in between, and they kind of, like, RWBY shot back into the room where Weiss was. But we don't see them really, like, fight together like Blake and Yang do. And I wish we could see more of that, like, that partner interaction. Because they're partners. They were partners at Beacon. So,
and I think we will come future episodes and future volumes.
Yeah, I think that it made sense to break them up for this particular fight because both of them had kind of personal things that they needed to settle, right? Like with Weiss, obviously, Marrow's a faunus, she's a Schnee, so there's kind of there's already this sort of animosity a little bit kind of between the two of them. And that's kind of come across when they were, down in the Schnee Dust Company mines. Obviously, I'm not saying that, Marrow is unreasonable or anything like that, but I do think that Weiss had something to prove there, and I think that RWBY, probably more importantly, definitely had something to prove against Harriet.
Can I say that I was genuinely concerned with this fight because I was like, I don't know that Marrow, Elm, I mean, I'll leave the Marrow part out. I don't know that Elm and Vine realized how much danger they were in because Blake and Yang have straight up killed a dude.
I have noticed the way that Blake and Yang took out Elm was similar to the way that they took out one on either side going in. And I was just kind of like, ooh.
Yeah, I was like, man, I don't
I
know
was
if they
like,
realized.
That doesn't give them flashbacks. I don't know what will.
But then after that, the next little bit when like, you know, Harriet runs in and chases after Ruby, and you know, Marrow is like, we're trying to arrest them, not kill them, and you know, Ruby and Weiss kind of see this dynamic of like, okay, Harriet's obviously trying to kill them, Marrow is holding back. Weiss turns up the heat, and she's actually trying to kill him too. Like, she's like, oh, he's holding back. I shouldn't, because that's gonna be his downfall here. And so she starts putting like fucking spikes on the wall. She summoned. I do also like that she took the freezer burn move and did it herself.
I did notice that. That was cool.
I was like, yo, that was freezer burn that she did completely by herself, and the distraction from it gave her the time she needed to summon the Armagigas, which ended up being what allowed her to win, because he couldn't focus on two separate targets at once.
Can we also just take a moment to appreciate this is the only fight Weiss has ever won?
Yep. Yep. Weiss deserves it, man.
Like, whoop.
You just made me sad.
Why? This is a victory.
I know, but like, aw. Poor Weiss.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, this fight was absolutely incredible, and just props to everybody on the RT animation team. I also want to shout out, because I haven't done it in quite a while, I got to shout out the RT animation audio team for absolutely fucking killing it this episode.
Yeah, they did.
Man,
Definitely.
there was some complicated ass stuff going on, and they knocked it out of the park.
One of
They did.
One of my favorite things about this fight was the use of the slow-mo shots. Like, it felt it was exactly, because you know, that was kind of how I always described like the volume 4 and volume 5 fights, is that it felt like they were trying too hard to be cinematic with their fights, and not necessarily focusing on the overall choreography and the choreography within the fights making sense outside of these big cinematic moments. But this one really felt like a great combination of the choreography and then the cinematography, and how it just felt like this beautiful chaotic dance at the end of it.
Oh yeah.
And it was just like, GG, good shit. I was like, fuck, I love this fight.
It was so good, but I hated it at the same time because I didn't want to watch him fighting.
But it was such an amazing fight.
It was. That's why it was like, this is not okay.
Yep.
Yeah, no. Like my first watch through on this, I was like watching the fights happening. I was like, "Oh, so this is where the budget all went to."
But you know,
Which just makes me excited for the fights we're gonna see next episode.
I'd really like to. So I'd really like to point out that the fight that Team RWBY put up here, they would not have put up anywhere near that fight at the beginning of this volume. They've grown so much.
Oh yeah.
And I think that that's what Atlas, like what Team RWBY was meaning to get out of being an Atlas was to get stronger. Like, that's probably why they were sent here, to get better, like writing wise. Because the Team RWBY that was here last volume couldn't have won that fight. So
Definitely.
I'm excited to see how else they grow.
Blake and Yang were like, we learned how to kill a man. Let's
Same.
take that to all of our few fights.
My girls are huntresses. It's great.
My girls are they're all grown up, heading off to war to kill people.
I'm so proud.
Hey Blake, do you want to go kill someone?
Let's
And
kill
then,
5 guys tonight.
Speaking of killing someone, it's now confirmed canon
No.
that Weiss is the one that hides the body.
Oh my god.
Because of that one shot where she's dragging Marrow and then just freezes and drops his legs.
That was such a fantastic shot.
Oh my
It was
god.
like,
that
this
was
is how you
great.
make a moment that is kind of overall tense funny. It's just something as simple as just dropping his legs. Like, it killed me.
That's like they've been blowing up this balloon the entire fight, and then this is where like they release it and it farts as it just releases all its air around the room.
Yeah. Oh my god, that moment just killed me. I was just like, no, Weiss
Oh my
is
God.
hiding the body.
It was so funny.
Yeah, no, and it was definitely I'm really excited to see Maria again, and fucking
Pietro.
Geppetto. Yeah, see them again. I really hope that we get to see more of them. But yeah, but also at the same time that all this is happening, Tyrion has crashed to his ship, or their ship, and Robin has been knocked the fuck out, which is probably good because she was acting pretty dumb.
Too much dumb bitch
I'm just
juice.
like, I love you, Robin. Please just wake up okay.
I love you, but can you fucking stop?
You're in timeout now. I was just like,
Robin, nobody asked you. Go sit in the corner.
my immediate knee jerk response was, "Oh my god, I hope she's okay. I really love this character. I don't want anything bad to happen to her. Confirm she's breathing. Confirm she has a pulse." And I'm like, "Okay, you stupid bitch." I was just like, "Okay, you're fine. You're breathing. You're okay." Slap. The fuck were you thinking? I was so stressed. Like, literally, I went back and I was watching some of my reaction because I remembered that I had reacted to something really funny and I wanted to show it to someone yesterday. And you can literally see me like shaking the entire episode because I was so stressed about what could possibly happen. I was not okay.
So after that all happens, Crow and Clover start to fight. There's an exchange of dialogue, which felt a little weird to me. Unfortunately, so this is what I mean when I say there was a bunch of really amazing stuff in this episode, stuff that I genuinely think they've never done better. I.e. the Aesop's versus RWBY fight. And then there's other stuff where I'm like, oh man, that was not so good. And really it's this sequence here with Crow and Clover and Tyrion that I really have major problems with. And it really, I mean, it started back up in the airship before the crash, and it ends down on the ground. And essentially what happens is they start fighting, and Tyrion joins the fray, and then Tyrion and Crow wind up partnering up. And my biggest problem with this is I have such a hard time believing that any of these characters are honestly this stupid.
Yeah.
I tell you,
Like,
it's the dumb bitch juice.
Yeah.
There was
justifies
something
anything.
going on in that ship there.
You thought Crow had stopped, but you'd be surprised.
The whole notion of Crow teaming up with Tyrion is just I don't really
It just doesn't feel right.
yeah, it doesn't make sense. Especially now, if Crow was still drinking, maybe I could buy that. But since he's not, I feel like, okay, like a momentary lapse in judgment, like I can buy that, right? Like, okay, you're fighting, it's the heat of the moment, I get it. But they're fighting for a good little bit. Like, and even after he teams up with Tyrion, I would still think that there would be a point in time where Crow would be like, well, what I'm doing is really dumb right now.
It's that dumb bitch juice.
You know, like to stop and think, you know, I just want to take Clover out. Like I don't want to kill.
Well,
Tyrion's gonna fucking kill Clover.
Gonna.
Yeah,
going
like,
back to Crow. No, Cole, stop. But you know, going back to I hate you so much. Going back to
Better luck next time.
we're oh my fucking god.
It begins.
I hate you so much, Cole. Get the fuck out of the call. Great, Beau, you just killed Cole. God damn it.
I just imagine Beau like sitting behind a desk, like her face behind her hands.
She just takes
But it's
glasses off and folds them. Whoop,
just
there he
like,
goes.
It has begun. You pour
Folds
yourself
hands together. It has begun.
Beau, you just pour yourself another glass of dumb bitch juice and
I want you guys to know my dumb bitch juice is Dr. Pepper. So,
My dumb bitch juice is Crown Apple.
oh my god.
my
I've had
dumb
like
bitch
5
juice is,
shots.
my
Miss
dumb
me
bitch
with that
juice is
shit.
water.
Yeah.
Anyway, so like going back to
yeah, because you're Neptune.
Shh. Going back to what you were saying about Crow, like you said, if he was drunk, you might understand, like if he was still drinking. As someone who has alcoholics on my entire dad's side of the family, a sober man can be a lot worse than a drunk man. If he's typically an alcoholic and he's sober, they can be a whole lot worse than a drunk man.
I mean,
Oh, you're
sure.
talking. So you're talking about. I mean, you're talking about going through withdrawals, right?
Like Crow has like completely stopped, like cold turkey. Last volume, really heavy drinker, and this volume he's like, no thanks. He's got to
So-
be going through something there.
I definitely agree with that. Although I have been given the impression here that it has been probably a couple months.
Especially considering how drastically Team RWBY's like fighting style has changed and how like they've improved so much this volume. I think that it's hard to tell how long they've actually been in Atlas.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
that's true.
Because if he's been like, because if it had only been like a couple weeks, absolutely, I think you'd be right. But that's not the feeling that I get. Obviously, I can't 100% confirm that. But I also have to go off the fact that Crow, up until this point, has been acting perfectly fine and of sound mind.
Mhm.
My thought with this whole scene is that if you watch it, you know, you've got it's a free-for-all at the very beginning of it. Like, everyone's just wailing on each other and whatnot. And then they have this moment where everyone's kind of a few feet away from each other and kind of really analyzing the situation that they're in. And Tyrion, you know, Crow goes after Tyrion. And he's prioritizing, you know, the actual threat between the three of them. And when Clover interferes and Tyrion is like, you know, let's put the kid to bed and finish this, you know, like let's finish what we started fucking 2-3 volumes ago. And Crow doesn't necessarily entertain the idea at first, and he keeps going after Tyrion, and he doesn't finally side with Tyrion until Clover actively interferes with the Tyrion Crow fight. And then at that point, I personally, is it a good idea? No. Is it the right idea? No. I personally think that Crow had this moment of, this is a fight that is obviously a fight to survive regardless, because if I keep fighting Clover, there's no telling what he could potentially do. So he decided to go with the better odds of having 2-on-1 rather than 1v1v1. Because it just ended up being this whole, like, I think it was a moment of desperation, and yeah, it was a bad decision because it got Clover killed, but like, I genuinely think it was just, okay, maybe we can like maim him or like just knock him out or something, and I can distract Tyrion long enough to pull him away or something like that. Maybe he thought that there was some other way he could recover it, and it was just this moment of desperation in the middle of a fight. But I'd like to think that he wasn't just like, yeah, sure, Tyrion seems like a good idea.
Really quick, I want to go back to the whole alcoholic thing.
Mm-hmm.
One of my problems that I had with Volume 4 was that they never really showed Yang struggling to get over the loss of her arm.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
this volume, I feel that really big lack where Crow's struggling to get over his alcoholism.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I feel like Rooster Teeth just kind of
Mhm.
bypasses that and gets to a point where they're just fine with it. Because, like, Yang, we saw her, she dropped the glass, she had PTSD, a flashback, but we never really truly got to see her adapt to her new life. And we're kind of skipping over this again with Crow. So
Yeah, the
that's kind of
show
left me a little disappointed this volume.
Yeah, the show has a bit of an issue properly exploring trauma.
Well, something I'd like to say, like to input about that is, I think Crow didn't drink because he was an alcoholic per se. He drank because he was trying to forget.
What do you think
That
alcoholics do?
that sounds like
no,
an
that's
alcoholic to
no.
me.
So here, well, let me explain a little further. It's that, um, like sure, it I'm really finding it hard to put it into words. I agree with you that they didn't show it as well as they could have. I would have liked to see him go through more, struggling more internally. Maybe us finally figured out why it is he drank, because we never really figured that out. And him having flashbacks of that, I think, could have helped. But I'm not super upset that they didn't show him, like, going through what a typical alcoholic does when trying to stop drinking.
Like, I'm not saying they have to show like every single step, but maybe at least a little bit of a struggle. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, there was
No, I
at the
get you.
party he said no thanks, but it
Yeah.
wasn't. You couldn't see that struggle very well.
Yeah. I don't know. I would probably I'm kind of with Starr here. I think that, you know, they failed to show Yang really properly struggling with the loss of her arm or the process of getting over that. They failed to I mean, they did address it a little bit, which was good. I would have liked to see them explore it more with the fact that Yang and Blake fucking killed a guy.
Yeah, that's another thing. I mean, Blake was
Mm.
pretty traumatized at the end of that fight,
Mhm.
but here she goes right back into fighting, no problem.
Mm-hmm. So it's definitely so yeah, there's a lot of kind of, I think, conveniently skipping over some steps in the healing process in order to get on with the story. And while I understand that, I don't really like it. Um, so yeah, I agree with you on the alcoholism thing. I hadn't really thought about that before, but I agree. That's something that I really would have liked to see better explored. Because he definitely was drinking an inordinate amount. Um,
Especially like last volume, because
yeah,
he really went through it last volume.
yeah.
It
I
was
would
bad
have
luck.
I would have
I
liked
also
to
think. Oh, sorry.
I
I
was
also think that.
you go. You go.
I also think that maybe Clover had something to do with that because he gave like Crow finally had a friend, and this guy's good luck could have been balancing out like what Crow was feeling, and so I will
Mhm.
give it a little bit of leeway. But
Yeah,
Mhm.
I would have liked to have seen, and maybe hopefully if they continue the the rule of thumb that they've been doing, 3 volumes in Veil, 3 volumes in Mistral, hopefully we get at least another volume in Atlas. I'd like to see Crow and Willow cross paths and have them like have Crow kind of see the other side of what being him was like before he went sober,
oh
and
yeah, we
potentially even maybe help her somehow, especially since Jacques is in jail now. So
Yeah, I want to see more Whitley. I want to see more of my boy Whitley.
yeah, Whitley was like super smug, but once his father was gone, you could actually see how broken he looked.
Mhm.
That was so sad.
And that's actually
He
that
went
is
from
one.
shitly to oh shitly.
Okay, but where's my boy Klein?
fired.
Well, he got fired.
He's unemployed right now.
Fuck.
Yeah, I that is something that I feel like there's massive opportunity with Whitley. Uh, we talked about it back when that episode happened, where Jacques got arrested and whatnot. There is massive opportunity to show just how much of a victim of Jacques' abuse Whitley is too. And I really, really hope that they address that and execute on that well. It's given we've got what, only one more episode left this season.
Yeah.
Yep, just one.
So like I would imagine that that we are not going to see that this season, but perhaps next season. But anyways, back to this episode. There is another little bit that we need to talk about with Penny and Winter. And so they're going, and Winter is getting ready to take the power of the Winter Maiden, and then Cinder shows up and blows a
we
big
all
hole and
cry.
shit. And right, and before that,
I'm
Neo
having very
arrived.
personal feelings about this episode.
That's right. Before that, Neo.
Yeah,
Oh my
before
God.
that, Neo arrived. She impersonated Oscar. This one's a much smaller gripe. Neo should not have just stood there and took that punch from Oscar.
I was gonna say,
So-
like, the person that Neo is, she totally could have dodged that.
She
Like,
totally
Oscar
could have
landed
dodged
a
that.
solid
I just-
hit.
I just really want to point this out. Is it just me, or was the lamp not glowing anymore?
I did notice that the animation was a little derp when Neo was
No,
pretending
like
to be Oscar.
it looks specifically as though it was just like dim.
Maybe Jin knows she's in danger. I don't know.
Or
Wow.
maybe somebody asked the last question.
How? Neo can't talk. Did she?
We don't
did
know
she-
that.
Did she type Jin
She
on her
used
phone
her
and
mind telepathy. Did
Did
you not
she-
know that she had that power?
I've had this theory for a while. You know how Neo semblance, she can look like anyone she wants, right? She's like Envy from Full Metal Alchemist. Well, as soon as she talks, maybe her voice doesn't change with her, so maybe that gives her away, so she just learned to stop talking.
I'm pretty sure that she's actually a mute.
I mean, yeah, she makes noises here and there.
Well, I mean,
And
mutes,
it would
mutes
make
can
sense
make
for her to-
efforts though. Like it's just
Yeah,
that their
like-
vocal cords don't work.
It would make sense if she would talk while she was in her normal, person. But yeah. So, but
Yeah.
we don't, I guess, know for sure that she can't talk. We just know that she maybe prefers not to.
Or maybe the relic is a fake.
Oof.
Well, now there is something that I really want to point out here too, in that I mean, we knew this about Neo. Neo works for no one but Neo. Neo, if she were going according to plan with the with Salem and whatnot, she would have just grabbed the relic and gotten out of there. But instead of doing that, she grabbed the relic and then she went and sought out the other members of the team, probably specifically looking for RWBY so she can kill RWBY.
It didn't seem like she was there actively seeking out. It seemed like because she was still within the general vicinity of the room where Oscar was, where we saw where the fight had obviously happened. So it really seemed to me like she fought Oscar initially in the room, and then the fight left because Oscar managed to get away and ran out somewhere. She managed to wrestle the relic from him, maybe even like knock the wind out of him for a second, transform into him to get away, and she just happened to bump into Team Juniper. It didn't seem like she was actively like, "Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Oscar."
Unless she was like completely lost, and she was just like, "How the fuck do I get out of here?"
Yeah,
Because it looked like when she turned around, she was like, "Oh shit."
she's just
Oh,
like, smile and
perhaps.
wave, boys.
So
That was the vibe that I got from that. Also, one thing that we gotta consider as well, she doesn't care about the relic. The relic is Cinder's thing. She only wants RWBY, or at least Cinder's convinced her that she only wants RWBY. Realistically, it wasn't RWBY's fault that Torchwick died, and I think that she's gonna find that out. And
Yeah, it was Torchwick's fault that Torchwick died.
well,
Fucking
Torchwick
Cotton
and
Mom.
Salem technically, because it was the Grimm that killed him.
I mean, well, that's because he had negative emotions. While he was doing his speech, he felt a whole bunch of hatred and anger, and that attracted the Griffin to come to him.
I mean,
Can we
fair,
get
but yeah.
can we get both an Emerald and Neo, please?
An emerald and what? You cut out.
An Emerald and Neo defection.
I want emerald redemption. I want Neo defection. That's what I want.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool because this was the first time that we've actually heard her full name on screen, where Nora says
I
Neapolitan.
noticed that too.
Like
it's never truly been like confirmed that Neapolitan is Neapolitan. We just thought she was Neo, but
yeah, well, she doesn't.
Well, no, it was confirmed, but not like
no one's ever said it
in the show.
Yeah, because it's her page in the companion guide is just Neapolitan. Which I literally have in my lap right here because I was looking to see if it said anything about her being mute, like medically, but it just says she's a mute antagonist. But
I think until we know her backstory, we never truly.
Well,
I want some Neo backstory.
Well, you know why she's mute, right? Like at least the out of character reason, because originally she was going to be voiced by. They wanted her to be voiced by Sarah Silverman, but then they couldn't get her. And so, because they couldn't get her, but Monty still kept, like, animating her and, like, wanted to keep her in the show, they were just like, oh, okay, we're just gonna not make her have a voice then.
I was gonna say, I thought it was because she was, like, thrown in last minute or something, so.
No, it was mainly, like, they couldn't get, they anticipated, the story in the companion guide is that they anticipated getting Sarah Silverman to voice her. And then when it fell through, it was like, well, shit, we've written this character, and we don't have anyone to voice her. So they just changed it to where she didn't have any lines anymore.
But to be honest, that's amazing. Like, I love how she doesn't talk. I mean, that's just, it's part of her character, and it's unique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Neo.
I give me that good Roman Neo spinoff, all right?
Yep.
Okay, but bring Torchwick back 2020.
Your boy is dead.
Can we please? He's my favorite character.
Your boy wasn't even supposed to live past the end of Volume 1.
I know, but my boy lived to the end of Volume 3.
He lied, cheated, stole, and survived.
Just kidding. Okay, but can Neo please just steal the Relic of Creation and, like, create Torchwick or something?
I don't think that's how it works.
Yeah, that is how it works,
the
okay?
wand of necromancy.
Listen.
Oh my god, you guys are pros.
We can also bring back Pyrrha and judge your banana hair.
Oh no.
Listen, okay, we all know it's bad, but
John,
like,
I want you to know I've been drinking in heaven.
It's funny because everyone's cutting out.
Terrible.
Yeah. So this whole like, there's gonna be this really kick-ass, hopefully, fight with Neo v. I call them Team Orange.
Okay, but it's still Juniper. His last name is Pine.
You can't just take one person's last name and have it be part of the name.
No.
Ren's last name is part of the name.
No.
He has a two-part first name.
John is the team leader. Don't take that away from him, bro.
Hang on. The name Juniper is taken. Nobody can fill that slot.
Yeah, exactly. Unless like Penny joined them. I feel like Penny would be a solid P.
The name they can have a P if they want, but the name Juniper does not come back.
So
listen here, you little shit.
Yeah, listen here.
It'll make me so sad. That spot is filled.
I did want to say, because I spent like 5 hours on the call with Sunny yesterday, just talking about like theories and whatnot for this episode. Is I think that if Neo were going to potentially defect, I think that the people she's up against right now are the people that would be able to convince her not to keep fighting for Cinder. Because I think that if she had accidentally bumped into RWBY or Yang potentially, she would have immediately just seen red and gone after them. But I think being forced to fight Team Juniper, who I feel like most times can be a lot more compassionate than Team RWBY can be.
Another thing is,
I think that if anyone's going to at least convince Neo not to kill Team RWBY and to at least be like, hey, listen, the enemy of my enemy, Cinder's a bitch. Let's fuck her up. You don't like her? Like,
I feel like they can relate to Neo the most because Neo lost someone that she deeply cared about during the fall of Beacon, and Team Juniper lost someone that they deeply cared about, and neither one was like they're not gonna sit there and go fuck Cinder. I mean, even though they are, but like both of those were something that happened during the fall of Beacon. It was all caused by the same thing. So they kind of have a common enemy, I guess.
Yeah, I think that.
And so if anyone can really reach out to her and say, "Hey, I know how you feel," it would be them.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. I think that these fights are happening exactly the way they're meant to. And I'm really, really excited to see that because we got, like the 4v4 pretty evenly balanced fight with RWBY versus the Aesops. And then we got the the super awesome kind of free for all a little bit, and then 2v1 for the Clover, Crow, and Tyrion fight. But this one I'm really excited because it's like we've never seen Neo take on a group. She's always like isolated someone and fought them. So I want to see how she does if she actually does fight them. I kind of am really excited to see how she handles herself with that. I want to see one of those like kind of it's almost a stereotypical moment. It feels really like 90s TV show moment, like with a shapeshifter character where they're fighting, they're all kind of like jumping around and she's kind of just moving around between them, and maybe Jean spins around or Ren spins around to like attack her, and suddenly Nora's right there and she's just like she just looks surprised and it's like, no, it's not me, and then they realize that it's Neo and she like lands a hit on someone or something like that.
That's the only advantage or disadvantage that Neo has, is when she transforms into someone else, she can't talk.
Yeah.
And so if someone says, "Hey, I'm the real Nora," they have to.
Yeah, it's kind
Neo
of like
can't really talk.
We made a joke about that, didn't we? Like a couple weeks ago, where it was like, what if Neo's pretending to be RWBY, and RWBY's just like, what the hell? Like, I'm literally talking, and Neo's like on her scroll texting, like, no guys, I'm the real RWBY.
Hey, RWBY, say yes if you are the real RWBY. Look, it's not her.
Neo's head is just like, fuck.
But yeah, I'm excited to see where that whole confrontation goes.
So I am also very interested in seeing where this whole fight with Cinder and Winter Penny is gonna go.
Wow!
What?
Did you say Penny has gotta go?
No,
No.
is
Oh.
going to go.
I thought you said Penny's gotta go, and I was like, how dare you?
No.
So real fast though, because this whole sequence, it goes from the Neo versus Juniper and Oscar, featuring Oscar, Orange, to
Juniper.
Winter and Penny looking at the Winter Maiden, who has now been put into the aura transfer unit, and Penny's like getting the thing ready, the big suck, as I've been calling it. With 2 C's. I'm sorry. I'm not. But Penny and Winter, or Winter says, I hope that the process is painless for her, and Penny kind of throws some sass at her, like, I thought you didn't care about your feelings, or
I was
like,
gonna say, like, RWBY and Penny have developed a very big dick energy.
yeah, and they have,
and they need to stop.
they have this little moment where Winter kind of acknowledges that she's like, yeah, we need to keep our emotions in check, but we also need to acknowledge them and acknowledge like the struggle that we go through with them, because that's what makes us human. And Penny's like, I think I understand. And cue boss ass bitch playing in the distance while Cinder like walks down the hall.
And Q, step on me, Cinder.
Like, so am I the only one? Are there any Star Wars fans here? Because this shot of Cinder walking down the hall towards Winter gave me big last scene of Rogue One energy, where Vader just like it's just this dark hallway, and then his lightsaber just turns on, and then he just walks down the hallway and murders everyone between him and the end of the hallway. And I was just like, oh no, my girl.
See, but the difference is when Vader walked down the hallway and fucking killed everyone in his wake, we were hyped because it was cool. But with Cinder, we were like, no, go away!
It's like insert Steve Carell gif of the no, God, please, no, no. But it was really kind of, obviously, I don't know if you guys knew this about me, but I love Winter. And
I had no idea.
Winter Anonymous. And this shot of like Winter, like it's like the really dramatic shot, and you see her before they make the reveal of Cinder, and then the shot of like the fireball flying at her, like, and the fear in her eyes was just like her realizing, at least for the time being, how outmatched she is. And I did want to.
She's going up against a maiden, and she doesn't have.
Yeah, and I do want to say, I was really worried about Winter's survivability before we figured out that Penny is there to protect her. And if this scene had gone any differently, I would have still felt very worried about Winter's safety. However, I don't think they're going to let Penny lose to Cinder a second time. Because Penny seems very like, nah, this shit's personal. I have
big dick energy.
I have feelings about this.
I have personal feelings
I have
about
personal
this.
feelings.
I'm going to use that quote in my life for a very long time to come.
I think
I
think it may come down to Penny is going to be distracting Cinder, because I think if anyone, because Penny, realistically, yeah, Penny can't like generate, or she can't like, we don't know if she has a semblance or anything like that, but of everyone that could possibly be fighting Cinder, I think Penny is easily the strongest fighter because of her ability to control all of those blades, use like the lasers. She can think faster. She doesn't have like the human error kind of thought process. Like she's able to analyze her situation a lot faster. I think she's going to keep Cinder distracted to buy Winter time to use the big suck.
One thing that worries me about Cinder at the moment is I have this theory that the vault in Haven was the tree of life or whatever, where the god of light was.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how there's that huge lake that Salem fell into and then she became immortal?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Cinder fell into that lake, and apparently she was in there for like a week. And then she woke up. So I'm fearful that Cinder is now immortal, just like Salem. And so that fucking worries me. But like she fell into that lake and didn't die.
Yeah.
Oh,
So if Cinder's immortal, then we're all kind of fucked.
I will say I don't know the extent of like
hell no.
I don't know the extent of like how she's immortal, but she isn't invulnerable, if that makes sense. Like she can still like, get bleed to a degree and like
don't get me wrong, she can still get completely fucked.
Yeah,
but she won't die.
Well, no, but my thing is in literature, oftentimes the only way to defeat an immortal being is to quite literally dismember them and keep their pieces apart from each other. So like, I'm wondering if that might be. I'm wondering if that might be a way. Like that's like with vampires too, where it's like, yo, if you don't have a silver stake, like just chop them up and like send their body parts to opposite corners of the world. They'll never regenerate.
Another thing I've noticed is everyone keeps talking about RWBY petrifying Salem with her eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But is Salem actually like part Grimm? We know that she jumped into the pool of blackness, but is she actually part Grimm?
I mean,
Cinder,
it definitely seems that way.
Cinder's definitely part Grimm.
Is confirmed part Grimm with her arm, so RWBY can definitely petrify her. But Salem, she never merged with a Grimm. All she did was really jump in that pool.
Yeah.
And it gave her a whole bunch of hatred. So
There was.
Would RWBY still be able to petrify her if she's not part Grimm? I mean,
Trying to
Cinder can at least be stopped because she can be petrified.
I'm trying to find the post for Cinder post, the fucking page. Books, Beau, books, not websites, pages, books.
Something that a film and a game guy is saying is, but the pool is where the Grimm come from. The pool could be creating beings of immense hatred. Because that's what the Grimm are. They're attracted to hatred, sadness, all that stuff. But
So,
like, is Salem actually a Grimm?
okay, so here it is. Cinder, she regained her health
She's
in
a grim
Salem's
reminder.
she regained her health in Salem's realm through Grimm-based skin grafts and body modifications. So, I wonder if the arm is all that's Grimm for her or if it's actually like internally too. Because it doesn't seem like the arm was like attached. It seems like the arm grew from her stump.
What I will say is Salem said that because of the maiden's powers, Cinder was able to get hurt during the fall of Beacon.
Mm-hmm.
But if that was true, then when RWBY used her silver eyes at Haven, Raven would have been affected too, but she wasn't. And so it leads me to believe the maiden powers are weak to silver eyes. And a lot of people were speculating that that glove that Cinder had on advice that like absorbed the maiden's powers, that's it like absorbed into her arm and caused Cinder to have Grimm inside of her, and that's what affected her. Because if the maidens were truly weak to silver eyes, then Raven would have been affected at Haven. But they didn't show any kind of struggle besides Cinder and her arm.
You know,
I mean,
I would take anything that Salem says to Cinder with a grain of salt, since Salem's big shtick is that she manipulates people. I almost wouldn't be surprised if she said that specifically to try to keep Cinder from going after RWBY for a time.
Yeah.
Salem likes to employ the Teddy Roosevelt method of intimidation. Speaking quietly with a smile on your face with a big stick in your hand.
You know, that's fair.
It's
that is
accurate.
fair.
Like, you can't tell me that's wrong.
I will neither confirm nor deny my opinions on this matter.
Well,
But anyways, yeah. So this fight, I'm really hyped for the Winter Penny v Cinder fight. I'm kind of hoping that Freya has like one last like little hurrah where maybe she like opens the pod and she's just like fuck you bitch and just like hits her with something and then
maybe like as Cinder is running away with her tail between her legs, she shoots a little ice blast at her ass.
Get your little ass back here, bitch.
she's
like, "I'll stay out."
She's like, you think
Get off my lawn.
She's like, you think I survived for 84 years being a little bitch like you?
That sounds like the pussyfooting of a little bitch to my ears. I am well acquainted with the sound it makes.
Can we just get the Winter Maiden and fucking Maria in the same room together?
Oh no.
I think the way I said bitch there is one of my favorite things I've ever seen in my life.
Petition an old woman
so
podcast
much.
where everyone just does old woman voices.
we need Steven on that one.
And Tina.
Well, ooh, is that a bitch I hear?
You know how like the Winter Maiden kind of stirred in her little pod a little bit. She was like, "Oh, I hear a bitch approaching."
it's like that JoJo meme, like, "Oh, you're approaching me." Oh, you're approaching me.
Anyways, so then we go back to the Clover.
Yeah,
v.
so we've got the
Crow.
Tyrion and Crow fight, and we've
We
already
just went
kind of
from something incredibly funny to something incredibly.
yeah. So we've already kind of talked out, I think, most of that fight.
And as Brian poops on the party.
Just
One
I
more
think-
thing. Oh,
Okay.
sorry. One more thing about the whole Penny and Winter thing, it's not necessarily story-wise, this is more animation-wise. I noticed that as Penny was walking down the hall away from Winter, her hair was kind of doing a thing.
Well, you want to talk about funny
Yeah.
things? Winter's eyebrows are white when the fireball's flying at her.
Okay, that's a problem, because Winter's eyebrows are black.
Yep, because her look is based off Satsuki, my queen.
But yeah, like, if you watch Penny's hair while she's walking away, it's doing all kinds of flippy things with physics, and it's not okay. And it bugs me every single time I
Like
look
the
at it.
triangle.
Stop! No!
What?
Oh no, the triangle!
Sumimasen?
It's this the TLDR of it, because Starr will cry for 20 minutes if I let her answer it. Is there's this on the young Salem model, there is this one part on her back, like on the sash, that is this
triangle
it's this
on
little
her dress.
triangle where it's not textured right or something's missing or whatever, but it's this obvious triangle and it just kills Starr.
It's there. Ugh.
Anyways,
It's such a simple thing to fix on a model, but it's there and they used it and they didn't.
Star's just having a stroke.
I hate it so much.
Oh.
It bugs me because it could have been fixed with a simple 2 clicks, and it wasn't.
Starr.
I'm sorry, I've had like 10 shots. Leave me alone.
So yeah, with the final little bit with Clover dying, it basically looks like
Better luck next time.
yeah, it looks like he has effectively framed Crow for Clover's murder because
So
he killed him.
here's the thing about it. She may be passed out now, but all they gotta do is wait for Robin to wake up, be like, yo, Crow, did you kill Clover? No, I did not. He's telling the truth.
Okay, but
Because Robin is still a reputable source. She wasn't under arrest. Boom.
Well,
crisis
but we don't
averted.
exactly know how her semblance works. We don't know if
Oh, look at this chat.
if it we don't know if it will be something that is oh my god.
I hate it so much.
Starr, you should look at your flavor text for the podcast.
I do.
No, so I we don't know exactly how her semblance works, if everybody will be able to see it or if they just have to be able to take her word. And
Well, but again, she's still a reputable source. Like, she's a licensed huntress. Like, she's not on the arrest list. She's still, as far as anyone is aware,
yeah.
she's still sided with Ironwood. So all it would take is for her to use her semblance, because she makes a public display of, you all know what my semblance is. Prove it, here and now. You know, like, she even did it in front of the councilwoman, the council people, whatever, council fuckfaces. And
then you
yeah.
also need to keep in mind that all it takes is for them to put her under oath and ask, "Hey, did you attack Clover?" Yes. Okay. Well, or listen to the cockpit voice recorder and be like, "Shit, she totally fucking attacked Clover."
But
and
they
then
have
she's no longer
but the
a
thing is
reputable source.
they have no reason to suspect that she was against Clover. And yes, it would be manipulating, but that's kind of the show, isn't
They're
it?
gonna ask them, how the hell did the plane crash? How the hell did Tyrion get away? And they're gonna have to be like, well,
So
and
why
then
doesn't
all
the
of their
military
reputation
just-
is out the window.
The military should honestly just. Oh, I hate you so much. The military. The military should honestly just hire Robin, their lie detector.
Yeah, she's like Ai from Zhao Fu in Legend of Korra. Except he ended up being a bad guy because he was the one person that could get away with lying.
Or Brian, it's like that thing from Konosuba, remember? Volume 2? No, season 2, remember?
Season
At
what?
the beginning when Kazuma's like on trial,
Oh yeah.
except just a person.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god. So, yeah, in any case, yeah, Clover gets fucked. Yeah. penetration
Starr
was
is
just a little
go
too
sucking
deep.
drunk, everybody.
Go sucking drunk.
Okay, I have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yes, but continue.
Is it of the personal variety?
I hate you so much.
Is it of the personal variety?
I'm gonna have to ask you to stop getting close to your mic.
I'm super close to my mic. I just turned my gain up.
Oh shoot. Okay, no, but like they arrested Tyrion and Mantle, right? And they were flying him up to Atlas. So why were they so fucking far out into the wastelands?
You know, I thought about that.
Like when they crashed, they were way off the coast of Mantle.
Yeah, what the hell was with that?
It doesn't make any sense. That should have been a quick ass flight all the way up to Atlas. That's my
Hmm.
problem.
You know,
You bring up a good point.
you do bring up a good point.
I have 5 points. I'm a star.
Well, you've got one so far.
Oof.
Well, no, 1 star for each character.
How quickly the shuttle crashed? I don't know if you know this, but when you're flying a plane and you turn it to point down at the ground's gonna get close real fast.
I was gonna say that was like they were pretty far out there.
Well, no, but
For
like
Tyrion
how
to suddenly
quickly...
turn it down and it crashed in like 3 or 4 seconds.
If we are trying to go to ground, this will make us get there much faster.
It's like when I play League and everyone in my chat jokes every time I die. They're just like, "Oh, it's just a faster faster recall. You just go being able to buy your stuff faster because when you're dead, you can purchase your items as opposed
like,
to spending 30
that was a
seconds
good-
recalling."
That was like a serious problem for me though, was why were they so far out? Unless they were planning on dropping Tyrion into the ocean.
So far out.
You know,
They're taking him to
correct. This
Alcatraz.
is something correct you just said, Star.
I know, I'm so
I'm like-
fucking wasted, but I still thought of it.
My brain is really kind of racked
Hurting?
at this. What? Because like I thought about it. I was like, "Wait, why are they so far away?"
Alcatraz.
Because
Like Atlas doesn't seem like the circumference of Atlas is smaller than the circumference of Mantle. So why are they so far out?
It's
Yeah.
very
Look at Starr using big words like circumference.
Fuck you.
I forget that the word circumference exists most of the time.
I'm a math nerd. Leave me alone.
All right.
But yeah, so we end the episode with Clover getting skewered, and Crow is like, "Well, shit. I guess I'm gonna."
Well, I guess better luck next time, I suppose.
I hate you so much. You've
I
overachieved it.
did love the little touch that the audio team did, where they let the sound of the wind on the tundra just kind of hang there in the air for a moment before the music for the credits actually started. Like the wind in the
it
tundra
was
actually
like this
I was-
silence. Like the lack of
Yeah.
music was more painful than the moment itself to me. To
I
be
thought-
completely honest.
Can
I
we
thought
all
they were
take a
gonna-
moment?
Oh,
Oh,
go ahead.
go ahead.
I thought they were gonna keep it going into the credits and not play any music, and that would have
That would've
upset me
been-
greatly.
Depressing as fuck.
Yeah.
No, but can we all just take a moment?
Carl Drogon says, or no, sorry, not fuck. We're sorry. My KRWBY says math nerd yet hates triangle.
Shit.
Listen, that triangle
She likes
upsets
math,
me.
not trigonometry.
That triangle brings me great pain.
It murdered your
Set
family.
your profile picture as the triangle.
No, unless I want to kill myself every time I.
I'm gonna set it as my profile picture just to
Oh,
upset you.
I hate you so much. I forgot what I was gonna say.
About the music and the credits.
No.
Was it about Ruby's big dick energy?
No.
Was it about Jean's wonderful banana hair?
You're still distracting me.
Like yo, this shit is bananas. BQLRFET.
Jean, I hate your banana haircut and it causes me great pain.
BQLRFET.
What does that spell?
Bananas.
Someone pointed out, and the post is it's a picture of Lionheart, Ironwood, and Crow, and this is from, I can't read this name. Sorry, they're on Twitter. The lion lost his courage, the Tin Man lost his heart, and the Scarecrow loses his mind.
Okay, but is Crow the Scarecrow?
Yeah.
I think that he's
not
supposed to
even
be, yeah.
close to
I've always
okay.
figured that since Lionheart and Ironwood are headmasters, maybe the headmaster of Vacuo is going to be the Scarecrow. Because Crow is like the birds of Odin or whatever.
Yeah, but characters can also allude to multiple sources too.
I mean,
because there are
yeah,
characters
but
that allude to multiple sources.
Since they're going with the trend that the 3 people that follow Dorothy, or at least 2 of them so far, have been headmasters. What if the 3rd one is the Scarecrow? Like, did we just have like a crazy person running Vacuo? Or...
Oh my god, I just remembered something.
Uh-huh.
So correct me if I'm wrong, because it's been a long time. So you all have heard me say it multiple times. Like, The Wizard of Oz is like my favorite fictional story. Correct me if I'm wrong, if anyone knows the answer to this, but in the original story, because I think I'm wrong about this, because on my bingo card I have it that Ruby loses an eye to Cinder as like payback. But Cinder's not the Wicked Witch of the West. Salem is. And in the original book, the Wicked Witch of the West gets her hand on one of the silver shoes. Not both of them. She only gets her hand on one of them.
Dude.
So what if Ruby loses an eye to Salem?
I was gonna say, she's gonna lose a fucking eye.
I just blew my own mind right now.
Oh, stop it.
Oh god. But no, this episode definitely fucked me up. Like...
And next episode is probably gonna fuck even more.
Yeah, I have a feeling like it's not going to end super great, this one.
I have a feeling they're gonna leave us on a really bad cliffhanger, and like
I have a
October,
feeling I
November.
hate you all because you're right. I'm really excited for this next episode, but I'm also extremely stressed out by it.
like, oh my god.
I think that, yeah, that kind of leads us into predictions, because at this point, we got one more episode this season. How do you think they're going to close off the season?
With pain?
I predict that I will have very personal feelings about this episode.
I already have personal feelings about everything.
Same.
This
Like,
is-
where was my shoe this morning? Very personally upset by it.
No, that has not. No.
You said everything.
No, I didn't mean that.
Everything!
But seriously, we have one episode left, and they left us Clover dying. Like,
Of course they did.
what are they gonna do next episode?
They're gonna
They
wrench
have
our
one-
hearts from our... Like, they're gonna do, like, Temple of Doom style. Reach inside of our chests and rip out our still beating hearts.
Kalima.
So in the original Wonderful Wizard of Oz, when Dorothy is captured by the Wicked Witch of the West, she tries to steal the shoes. She finally gets one by tricking Dorothy into tripping over an invisible iron bar.
Oh, she's gonna trip over Ironwood and steal an eyeball.
I don't think that's how that works, Starr.
That's how it works.
That's But the thing that concerns me is that at the end of the story, Dorothy loses the silver shoes. Like, she doesn't come back with them. But I'm also wondering if maybe the silver shoes didn't... What if Ruby's not Dorothy? What if maybe, like, Maria was supposed to be Dorothy? Because she
You know-
lost the silver eyes.
I have heard theories that maybe Summer was Dorothy.
That's
but I
right,
never
because
actually
Dorothy...
thought of
will be-
Maria be.
Well,
Sorry.
in the original lore, Dorothy is captured by the Wicked Witch and held captive for, like, I think a few years. And, like,
So what if Summer's being held captive?
I don't know. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of
I
directions.
mean-
If you guys want to hear my predictions, I have a bingo board, and I've already updated it.
Do you really?
I do.
Can you
She
please
does.
send it to me? I want to see it.
Like, Beau has the best bingo board.
So it's pretty great.
Oh my
Um,
god! You bingo board.
If Ruby, if Ruby loses an eye, right?
Fuck.
I cannot wait for the internet to jump on that and make Ruby, like, copy Ruby over as like the fucking Chunibyo meme.
I
You know what I'm talking about?
Well,
This
I
this
just
one?
want, Brian, I just want you to know that if they did that, then she sure wouldn't see it coming.
Oh my!
you know, also
fucking
if they did that, because that's exactly what they did with Cinder already.
Oh,
So,
did
like,
they?
Yeah, because that's Cinder's new mask. She has like the lines going across her face. She has like the straps
Yeah.
going across her
Yeah.
face now. So like, but imagine what a nice parallel that would be. Is the
Mhm.
you know, arguably the main antagonist? Because yeah, Salem's the big bad, but Cinder's kind of more the main like antagonist that's actively
It's
doing
like,
stuff.
all right, Cinder, let's fight. And they just like twirl Chunibyo fingers at each other for an hour.
Or like, what if they're both missing an eye and they both just keep trying to stay in each other's blind spot, and it's just like, stop moving.
Oh
No,
my
but
God.
I'm really. I saw a post on Tumblr earlier that was just like, this blog is now a take one of Winter's eyes because she already wields a cutlass, so she can be a true pirate. And I'm just like, oh my God, I love pirates, but please don't make Winter lose an eye. She needs them.
I just want, I want Winter and Crow to like leave everywhere and be pirates together.
Yes, Snowbird. One of my only 2 ships. For Winter.
Yarr!
I only have 2 ships for Winter, and they're both with birds.
Oh my god, you need to stop.
Nah.
Is there Snowbird and then the bird version of Crow?
No. It's Crow and Winter, and then Robin and Winter.
Oh, that's less.
Or
climactic
all
than I
3 of
thought.
them, because Winter has 2 hands.
Aha!
Winter's like,
Oh.
Crow's like, this is my girlfriend Winter, and this is her girlfriend Robin.
You know who doesn't have 2 hands?
So,
Yang.
as far as my predictions are concerned, I think Team Ruby and Maria and Geppetto, whatever the fuck his name is, they are gonna go try to stop Ironwood. I think Crow is gonna get arrested, and probably Robin too.
No.
And I think Neo is gonna cause some shit, and I'm gonna go out on a limb. And say we might see one other character death.
No.
Brian,
You know,
stop that right now.
I'm gonna say, I think that we've already potentially, if there is going to be another character death, I don't think it's gonna be one of the good guys. I think we're gonna lose a bad guy, because we haven't lost a bad guy we lost a bad guy
We
last
lost
year,
Watts.
and we don't know what happened to Watts.
Okay, that's true.
we did lose Adam. That was a really big, like, that was a bad guy that we did lose. But I think, considering we've got Clover, who's dead, and then we've got Robin, who's kind of down for the count.
I don't
Like,
want Nora to die.
I honestly, I don't think it's gonna be Nora, to be completely honest. I honestly think that if anyone else is going to die, I think that, because Cinder didn't die in the fall of Beacon. No one died in the attempted fall of Haven. So I think that what the bad guys are gonna lose someone. One of my predictions is that, the opening sequence, we thought last episode was that we saw the Crow and Robin versus Tyrion fight. Then they just deliberately left Clover out because they didn't want to spoil that he was also there. But the fight with Tyrion, Crow, Clover, and Robin took place in a very tight alley. In the opening sequence, which have been pretty accurate to like where things happened and whatnot, the opening sequence, it shows Crow and Robin fighting Tyrion out in the middle of a huge street. And I'm wondering if there may be, because for all we know, everyone's talking about Robin being knocked the fuck out, and, if she wakes up or blah, blah, blah. the next episode could literally open with her waking up being like, yo, what the fuck happened? Uses semblance. Yo, I'm innocent. Okay, cool. Let's go get that fucker. And like they take off before the cops can get there. Like, I mean, given if the cops could land and then they could potentially like maybe steal. I want them to do the Wookiee prisoner gag where Robin pretends to arrest Crow and she's like, I got him. She, I don't know what happened, but he has the arrest warrant and Clover's dead and blah, blah, blah. Like, he didn't kill him, but I have him. Let's take him to Ironwood. And they get in the ship and then they like knock everyone out and take the ship themselves. I think that would be really funny, actually, is she's just like, yeah, he put up a real big fight.
I've got a big prediction that I just thought of. I think that the big cliffhanger that they are going to inevitably end the season on, we know we're getting a cliffhanger, is Ozpin comes back.
I honestly don't think so.
Hashtag Ozpin
Voice
did
is-
nothing wrong.
Shut the
His
fuck up!
voice is already inside of us.
No!
So that wouldn't really make sense.
Okay, well, it's either Ozpin comes back or it's revealed that Ozpin has been in control of Oscar the entire time, or that they have already merged.
I was gonna say, because it sounds like they're already merging.
All of them are Ozpin related.
I do also want to
I
say,
just think about your bingo board.
I do want to say that I don't, unless it was in the fight, because she yells a lot, but Barb specifically said that she recorded Yang screaming, not yelling, screaming at one point for Volume 7. And we heard her yelling a lot during the previous fight, but we didn't hear her scream. And so that has me really concerned. Because it didn't happen this episode, so
Fuck.
yeah. There's also talking about stuff that is in the opening that we haven't seen yet still is Ironwood down in Mantle shooting his gun. Which I believe is either right before or right after the sequence of Robin and Crow versus Tyrion.
So call Drogon just to say, just because something is recorded doesn't mean it was the take they chose. You are correct.
Unless
However,
it's a scripted scream.
unless it's a scripted scream, in which case you're doing multiple takes of the screaming.
Yeah, in which case it's, the scream's going to be used. It's just which scream she doesn't know.
And as a voice director, I will tell you that you do not have an actor scream
Unless you plan on using it.
unless you plan on doing it, because screaming can be dangerous for an actor. Yeah, because screaming can be dangerous for an actor. So I actually try to save, whenever I'm doing a session, I always try to save screaming lines for the end of the session, because I've gotten in trouble before where I've had an actor in the booth doing some really intense screaming and yelling lines early on in the session, and then they lost their voice, and and it was a major problem for the rest of the session. Mm-hmm. So, and not only is that bad for the session itself and getting what you need, but it's also really bad for the actor. You don't ever want to drive an actor to that point. So, yeah, screaming is a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I don't think that this is going to be like cliffhanger of like the last couple volumes where it's like, Manta 5-1, welcome home. Oh man, what's going to happen? Or, or like Volume 5 where it's like, we got to get the lamp to Atlas. Like, I really think, because they've never really done any crazy huge like, because even all things considered, the way that they tied off the end of like Volume 3 even was still it was kind of more open-ended than a cliffhanger. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I feel like this one is genuinely going to be like, it's going to cut to black and leave us on a, no, what? Like that kind of reaction. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's going to be like, okay. So I can see where they're going. I think it's going to genuinely be the like, no, they cannot end it there. Like, that's the kind of ending that I think this volume's going to have. Because it's...
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, I've been telling you
A lot of shit happened this episode, but next episode, I feel like they're gonna leave us on a really big cliffhanger,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's gonna
and I'm
be.
terrified because we're gonna have to wait so many months.
I do want to say that I think it might be realistic for us to get some old characters coming back, and to this one has a lot of thought and theory behind it, because realistically the only two characters that could come back without having to justify, oh well, but the borders are closed, blah blah blah, are Raven and Ty. Because I think Crow right now could really use the rest of his team. And we know that Raven is with Ty because he was the last person that she had a portal to, at least as far as we know.
Fuck, that's right. I keep forgetting about
And
that.
the borders don't matter because both Crow and Yang are in Atlas. So Raven could just open a portal to them and they could just bypass that. So they could literally be there instantaneously.
This is a good point.
So I think that if anyone's going to come back, that's kind of like a big surprise of like, whoa, where did you come from? I think it's going to be Raven and Ty. I think it'd be cool. I don't know necessarily where they would fit in, but here's hoping that maybe Ty was like, at the end of Volume 5, it was like Ty was just, oh man, yeah, I'm just planting my flowers. My daughters are off, saving the world. It's cool. And then ex-wife shows up and he's just like, puts on therapist glasses. All right. Like, and so he's just been helping Raven figure her shit out for the last few months. I know Sunny. Sunny's like, yes, bring Raven back, because Sunny's two favorite characters are Raven and Summer. Raven shows up and beats Cinder's bitch ass again. Yes, please. But is that all the theories that we have?
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to our two lovely guests, Cole and Starr,
Yeah.
Dab.
for coming on. Thank you, Cole, for coming on last minute.
Yeah.
Thanks for inviting Cole and I both in the same
Yeah, you know not to make that mistake again.
ever again.
A couple little housekeeping things before we completely wrap up. We are coming to a close on not what you wear, like a door you close. We're coming to a close on the end of this season. As we've been talking about, there's only one episode left. And once RWBY is finished, this podcast is going to go on a bit of a hiatus, and then we will be returning to the regularly scheduled KRWBY talk, rather than RWBY talk, where we follow just random anime. And I think we might try some different things. There are definitely going to be some changes that are happening there, which you'll hear about more. But if there are any anime or things that you want to hear us talk about, especially coming up, we follow seasonal anime, so make sure you're looking at seasonal anime, not an anime from like a decade ago. But if there are any seasonal anime that you see coming up that you would really love to hear us talk about, please let us know, either in the comments down below or within our within the Discord server under the suggestions tab. So
Yeah. I would like to actually plug our other podcast real fast, because our last episode of Perpetually Ajar, our most recent episode, had a very special guest on it. The lovely Lauren Landa, who is a voice actress. She's been in Attack on Titan. She's been in several iterations of the Fate series. She's been in Seven Deadly Sins. Whole bunch of really, really awesome anime that you guys have probably seen. Like at least one thing that she's been in, Madoka Magica, Brian's favorite.
no.
But yes, Connie Day, Katie in the chat there, is my other co-host for that. We host Perpetually Ajar together, and it was a ton of fun getting to record that at Anime Los Angeles. We're actually getting ready to record the next episode pretty soon here. Please go check it out. Comment your questions on there, because we love answering them. And yeah, that's what I want to plug. Nondescript as well, but that'll come around when it's ready. So yeah.
Hell yeah. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. It has been fun. We will come back for the final episode of RWBY Volume 7 next week. Bye!
Bye.
Bye.